Welcome to this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. The types of business that occur at these meetings include public hearings, official voting on actions by the Board of Commissioners, presentations by departments of the county, and recognition of service that makes our county great. As your elected representatives, the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners is committed to improving the lives of all our residents while preparing county government to meet the demands of the future. In order to do that, we need to share our thoughts and plans with you. More importantly, we need you to share your thoughts, concerns, and opinions with us. We encourage you to come and experience the process by attending any of these meetings. They occur every first and third Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the St. Clair County Administration Building at 200 Grand River Avenue in Port Huron.
Additions, deletions, changes to the agenda.
Planning Director reclassification is moving to 11I.
11I.
Lease agreement between St. Clair County and St. Clair County Board of Commissioners is moving to 11J. Resolution 15-11, authority to execute and accept documents regarding the liquor license for the Blue Water Convention Center will be 11K. Cost sharing and purchase agreements with JB Real Estate Development will be 11L.
Support.
Discussion on any of those? I have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Item 5, minutes of previous meetings.
Mr. Chair, I move the minutes of the March 19th, 2015 Commission meeting and the April 2nd, 2015 Standing Committee meetings to be approved and filed.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 6, proclamation. Item A, recognizing Timothy J. Cook for 27 years of service to the St. Clair County Courts.
Mr. Commissioner, or Mr. Chairman, I move at this time to approve the proclamation recognizing Timothy Cook for years of service. Support.
You want to go up there and read that in record? And I see Mr. Cook. You
Kevin,
can
if you
bring him
come up
up
with
so
us,
he
please.
can get some TV time there.
You can bring anybody you want up here. It's TV time, right? Good evening. This is a proclamation recognizing Timothy J. Cook, 27 years of service to St. Clair County Courts. Whereas Timothy J. Cook served honorably for 4 years in the United States Marine Corps, and whereas he earned his BA degree from Michigan State University and an MSA in Business Administration from Central Michigan University, and whereas he continued his education earning a JD from Thomas M. Cooley Law School and a Judicial Administration Certificate from Michigan State University, and whereas Tim Cook has provided 27 years of distinguished service to St. Clair County and the courts, developing innovative and resourceful solutions for our citizens and families, demonstrating leadership for the courts and among staff, implementing electronic technologies to the benefit of the courts, public and local law enforcement agencies, and whereas he has actively served the St. Clair County community through involvement in the St. Clair County Board, or St. Clair County Bar Association, the Boy Scouts of America, and the American Legion. And whereas Mr. Cook announced his retirement, having most recently served for the past 10 years as 72nd District Court Administrator Magistrate. Now therefore it be it proclaimed that the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners does hereby adopt this proclamation, extending deep appreciation to Timothy J. Cook for his dedication and 27 years of distinguished service. We join with your wife Kathy, your family, and the entire community in congratulating you on your retirement and the joys and new challenges to come. Proclaimed this 16th day of April 2015, signed Jeff Bohm, Chairperson, Bill Graytop, Vice Chairperson, Greg McConnell, Carl Tomian, Howard Heidemann, Tom Riley, and Dave Rushing, Commissioners. Tim? Congratulations to you, and thank you very much for your service.
Thank you.
Take a few minutes and tell us something if you'd like.
I'd just like to take this time to say it's been a pleasure working with all of you commissioners, and in particular with the judges of the Circuit and District Court and Probate Court, and fellow administrators, Jerry Selmer in particular, and of course the Chief Judge, Daniel Kelly, who has been a mentor and an inspiration for me over all these years. It's been my honor and it's been my pleasure. I thank you very much.
Okay, moving on. Item 7, consent agendas, item A through I.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the commission approve the consent agenda that consists of items 7A through 7I, that being the monthly budget report to actual, the job postings for the month of March, Convention Center construction fund update, the Drain Commissioner's annual report, the Enbridge Pipeline depth monitoring program, the Cell 4 construction contract extension with Ryan Construction, the 2014 Department of Public Works audit, the 2014 Road Commission audit, and the waste management contract extension.
Support?
Discussion on any of these? I've got actually one thing I just want to touch on that I found to be quite interesting. We've got the Drain Commissioner's annual report. I know some of you attended the Farm Bureau meeting in St. Clair maybe a month ago. They had the Drain Commissioner from Sanilac County. We were talking about the county's at-large portion that we're currently $500,000 plus on that. And the Drain Commissioner from Sanilac County, which Sanilac County actually has more drains than St. Clair County does, his county at-large portion is roughly $130,000. And what they have in Sanilac County, they've been very aggressive since, I think, 1986, that he had said that cleaned drains, and they have no petition drain projects, which were 30 of them on the books, and when Bob first took office, it was 30 of them. To his point, he was explaining to us that when you first petition a drain project, you have to spend a lot of money on engineering, and you have to do all that other stuff. Once a drain is cleaned, then you can go into maintenance mode on that particular drain. So his point being, I know we've put a lot of money in the county at large, and we need to, because the drains hadn't been touched in a very long period of time here, very aggressively at all. And I just thought it was interesting, to hear how they're on top of their drains. The drains are cleaned up there, and they've actually been able to drop that at large portion quite substantial because of that end result. So hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel someday on the drain. I mean, we got a long time coming, but they've been doing it since, I think, '86, very, very aggressively up there.
I was at that meeting, Jeff, and I was truly impressed by the fact that they've done that. I would love to see someday when we can get to that point where we have all of our projects completed, and then it's just maintenance after that. So, yeah, it was a good meeting, good point to bring up. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Any other comments of consent agenda? Howard?
Regarding the drains, I remember back many years ago, I think, Tom, you were here then, they were showing us the photograph of this one drain where the tree was about 3 feet in diameter and obviously was 60 or 70 years old, in the middle of, or in the center of the drain, the canal. Some of our drains haven't been maintained at all in not just decades, but many decades.
Either that, it grew awful fast.
That's the other possibility.
Okay. All in favor on the consent agenda?
Aye.
Those opposed. Item 8, reports of standing special committees. Going to start with Mr. Greatop.
I'm going to take a pass, sir.
Mr. Rushing.
Just a quick blurb about the meeting I met with Richmond Chamber of Commerce and brought up a few points within the county that were taken care of. Central Dispatch, the landfill, and gave them a rundown on that. And just gave them a rundown of what's going on in St. Clair County. There was numerous townships and also good support from Macomb County there also.
Good. Tom?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Greg?
Nothing.
Carl?
Commissioner Heidemann and I attended the Next Michigan I-69 quarter meeting last Tuesday, and At that meeting, there were representatives from all 4 counties, Shiawassee, Genesee, Lapeer, and St. Clair County. And we learned at that meeting that the State Economic Development Corporation has approved funding for agribusiness support across our region, and they're going to be putting together a coalition to assist our existing agribusinesses and also try and recruit new agribusinesses to our area. Coming up on our agenda, representatives from each of our counties are planning to attend the Global Logistics Conference October 31st at the Henry Ford Museum. We're also sponsoring a binational Michigan and Ontario Meet the Buyer event at the new Blue Water Convention Center. And that's going to take place later this month. One of our overarching goals of this organization is to improve I-69 as an international corridor to provide infrastructure for economic growth. And while I-69's been completed from Port Huron to Indiana for some time, the goal is actually to connect it all the way to Mexico through portions of Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas. And the goal is really to establish the infrastructure from Mexico through Michigan to Canada. And what I've distributed to each of you tonight is a map that illustrates where the progress is on the I-69 corridor. And it also lists some legislative priorities for the I-69 Congressional Caucus. What's happened is all of the states that have a portion of I-69 proposed or constructed in them have congressmen that are on a committee that are dedicated to try and improve this freeway. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Interesting. Comments for Carl? One of the things that we do know when we had our meetings previous was I-69 with just the trading partners from Halifax. Halifax is, there's 2 deep water ports. They're building these new jumbo ships that can literally carry 10 times more goods than others. And Halifax is one of the ports that they can get into the eastern seaboard. And actually Baltimore, when we had met with Jay Johnson, Homeland Security Director, came out and we had lunch with him and we talked about that. So we really know that there's going to be an influx of goods that are going to be coming Halifax, via rail, via truck. It was, and they knew our issues as well as we knew our issues too. I mean, they really did their homework, but that I-69 is, it's a big deal from transportation. Okay, appreciate that. Howard?
Carl hit all the high points, stole my thunder. But one of the points that I raised at the meeting was the fact that one of the areas of concern on the I-69 corridor is getting across the Blue Water Bridge because of all of the commerce we have with Canada. And I mentioned the fact that, I made the other representatives of the other counties aware of the fact that when they decided to redo the plaza, they came into the area, took out 133 homes or 130 homes and 30-some businesses, just devastated the core of the city, and then said, whoops, we don't need a $500 million plaza. We only need a $250 million plaza. And then they said, whoops, we don't need one that big. We just need some place to offload all of the trucks carrying commerce and inspect them. We don't need to mess with the cars. So we only need 16 acres, not, what was it, initially 80? So now they're down to 16 acres, and the project went down from 500 million to 250 million. I think it's down to 160 million now. And they haven't moved with it yet. And so at that meeting, Congressman Molinar, his representative was there, and we made her very much aware of that problem and asked her to partner with our Congresswoman Candace Miller to see if they could get this project moving forward.
And our other, Howard did make those comments, and our other partners from the other counties said that they would take a position supporting the proceeding with the Blue Water Bridge expansion as soon as possible, because they see it as a benefit not only to our area, but the whole state of Michigan.
They were volunteering to write letters, do whatever.
Yeah, when I read this little blurb here, I knew it was a lot, but Port Huron and Detroit account for 40% of all U.S. northern border truck crossings. 40% in those 2 points, that's a lot. Okay, anything else, Howard?
That'll be all.
I'm going to take a pass. Going on to items number 9, citizens wishing to address the board. Are there any citizens wishing to address the board at this time? Seeing none, unfinished business, nothing. Item 11A, new business, the approval of the county disbursements for March of 2015.
Chairperson, at this time, I'd like to move to approve the county disbursements for March of 2015 in the amount of $14,809,535.24.
Discussion, roll call.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Commissioner Graytop.
Yes.
Chairman Bohm.
Yes. Item B, the resolution 1508 approving the equalization report.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to adopt Resolution 15-08 approving the 2015 St. Clair County Equalization Report.
Support?
We've got Greg Hill in attendance. If anybody has any question, Greg, if you want to.
Good evening. Presented before you is the 2015 Equalization Report for your adoption. Just some highlight points that there were no county equalization factors issued this year to any unit. That's good. And there is no state factors anticipated. I've been in contact with the state people and none are anticipated. We had a adjustment upward of about 5.5% on the value of the county, which is a good thing compared to the last few years. Taxable value went up about 3%, a little over. Next year, the CPI is projected to stay low. It's a good thing, but it also hampers our ability to raise more taxes through the Proposal A. And also next year, for 2016, the eligible manufacturing personal property exemption starts to kick in. And if we're like other counties, I haven't done the math yet because the legislation isn't even complete or the implementation of it, we're standing to lose about $150 to $200 million in value, and we gained about $220-some million this year. So it's going to be pretty flat next year. Just kind of a word for everyone to anticipate.
What does that, and this may be a Kerry question, or both of you, when you talk about a 5.5% increase, what does this reflect on our bottom line at the county? What is it, a 2% increase in our budget, 3%? Is it?
Well, the taxable value went up 3%. It was the assessed value that went up 5%, and that's going to come in pretty close to what we budgeted.
Okay. Very good.
Property taxes are about, what, 50% of our budget revenue? Fairly close.
Okay. Bill?
Greg, you're limited to raising those values with the Headley Amendment at maximum 5% or cost of living or the CPI, whichever is less.
That's Proposal A, yes.
Right, Proposal A.
Headley's different, but
And does that apply to commercial property as well as?
every property on a one-by-one basis. You're limited to the rate of inflation, which this year is 1.6% or 5%, whichever's the
less.
lease.
Okay.
And unless it's been uncapping or new, and additions, they call them, you build something new, you buy new equipment, stuff like this.
Okay.
Yeah, the Headley calculation, I have done a preliminary one. I need the adjoining counties to finish it up. That's not in your packet because it's not due for another month yet. But the county will not get a Headley reduction fraction this year, but we do have 6 units that will have them and a school district, first time the school district's had one since I've been here. So, that means we're growing faster than the rate of inflation.
Howard Headley?
Just curious, if we put it to a vote of the people to do a Headley override, how much of a difference would that make in income to the county? Yeah.
Well, you're at 5.3265 mils for county operating right now, whatever if you want to restore back to the original 5.7.
Oh, nice.
You know, it's a third of a mil, so $3,000 for every million.
Okay, Carrie says about 1.7 million.
1.7 million?
What are you thinking about, Howard?
I got a funny story about Howard. I've been on the board with him a long time. Terry London and him. Terry was part of that original legislation. Howard bring that up. Those two would argue, man, like cats and dogs about that. That was great. So I had to give you the old Howard Headley answer. We had a motion to, all in favor to receive and file the equalization report.
Aye.
Those opposed. Health Department's plan of organization.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the St. Clair County Health Department's plan of organization as presented.
Support?
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. Item D, the Water Trails Field Day.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt Resolution 1510 approving the submission of a coastal zone grant application for a Water Trails Field Day.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. Item E, the Fleet Repair and Maintenance Agreements.
Chairperson, at this time, I'd like to move to approve the contracts for fleet repair and maintenance with JG Customs and Collision in the amount not to exceed $50,000, Mobile One Lube Express in an amount not to exceed $50,000, and Marysville Tire and Auto in an amount not to exceed $50,000 each for a term of May 1st, 2015 through April 30th, 2018.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Greatop.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Chairman Bohm.
Yes. Item F, the phone system support renewal with DNS Communications.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the contract renewal with DNS Communications for phone and voicemail system support in the amount of $38,472.73 for a term of May 1st, 2015 through April 30th, 2016.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Commissioner Greatop.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Chairman Bohm.
Yes. Item G, the proposed HR manning table revisions.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the elimination of one HR clerk position, the adjustment of the existing part-time retirement position from part-time to full-time, and the addition of a human resources director position to the human resources manning table.
Support.
Discussion. Bill, you want to touch any of this? I know Bill is our quote-unquote HR director right now, and I know Bill spends a lot of time with this, and we really need to bring somebody in to get that off of these guys' plate here. So.
And I appreciate your support. It does take a great deal of time. But as you know, one of the things that this organization struggled with is trying to fill some of our vacant positions, given our benefit package, our wage structure, and our ability to attract people from outside the area to the community. And quite often, it's not always about the wages, it's about some of the benefits. And sometimes it's not the benefits that cost you money, it's benefits that make this a better place to work, a more enjoyable place to work. And one of The skills that we'll be looking for in an HR director is someone who has some experience in working with department heads and elected officials, as well as bargaining units, to try and create an environment here that is more conducive to employees staying as well as attracting folks to the area. We've got a great place to live and work, and we need to send that message out. There's a lot of programs out there that are available. Existing staff just does not have the time to explore those, report back to you, and make recommendations, and I certainly don't have the time to do that either. I believe an HR professional can do that for us. So thank you for your support on the position.
Yeah, we really went through a period, with the downturn, that a lot of positions that came open, we weren't filling those positions as obviously a way to balance our budget. Now that we have some stabilization and we really find the need for these, and bringing some of those people back, or some of those positions back, quite frank, would be necessary. So,
And Bill is actually accomplishing this without changing the number of full-time employees dramatically.
Correct. Yes, and even financially, what we're looking at are positions that are currently funded that we've determined we don't need any longer, and using those funds to help support this position.
all in favor? Aye. Those opposed. Item H, the Historical Village Painting Goodles Park Contract Award.
Chairman, at this time, I would move to award the Historic Village Painting Project at the Goodles County Park to Easton Painting in the amount of $12,696.
Support.
Discussion, roll call.
Well,
I'm sorry, Howard, you want to?
just a comment. I think I may have emailed out to commissioners that there's also a painting contract that we're going to sign for repainting the splash pad. And I think that that painting contract was for like $8,000. And they're going to be using a paint. It's $900 a gallon. And it's like a Teflon paint. And it's supposed to be very, very low maintenance for like 10 years, whereas the other paints they use need monthly maintenance and care. And they use this paint on a splash pad, the applicator down in Oakland County, and are very, very pleased with the performance of the paint. So even though we're spending a little more money, the manpower needed to maintain it and everything is far less. So Park and Rec Board unanimously supported that. I may have thought that was going to be on our agenda too, but, so if you're confused by that email, my fault.
Roll call.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner Greatop.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes. Item I, the Planning Director reclassification.
At this time, I'd like to move to approve the reclassification of the planning director position as presented.
Second. Oh,
Discussion.
I'm sorry.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. J, Resolution 1511, authority to execute and accept documents regarding the liquor license for the Blue Water Convention Center.
I believe that, you said,
J is
I'm sorry.
the lease agreement.
Oh, was it?
St. Clair
Okay, I'm
County.
sorry.
do that one
It's
first.
out of order on your agenda.
Okay. So J, then, the lease agreement.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to approve the lease agreement between St. Clair County and the St. Clair County Board of Commissioners for the Blue Water Convention Center.
Support.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed. Item K, Resolution 1511, to accept and execute documents.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would move to adopt Resolution 15-11, granting authority to execute and accept documents regarding the liquor license for the Blue Water Convention Center.
Support.
Discussion.
It's already been supported by
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item L, the cost sharing and purchase agreements with JB Development.
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the cost-sharing agreement and the purchase agreement with JB Real Estate Development LLC and authorize Jeffrey L. Bone, chairperson, to execute same.
Support.
Discussion.
Just in terms of the real estate agreement, we'll be selling this property at the appraised value?
That portion, correct. And this is just some of the housekeeping stuff, too,
Yeah.
that'll come along with the convention center project, so. Roll call?
Commissioner Heidemann.
Yes.
Commissioner Rushing.
Yes.
Commissioner Tamian.
Yes.
Commissioner Riley.
Yes.
Commissioner Greatop.
Yes.
Commissioner McConnell.
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes. Okay. Administrators report.
I want to remind the commissioners, if you haven't received your invitation already to the Emergency Services Breakfast scheduled for May 15th at 7:15 at Alexander's. If you're interested in attending and you haven't advised administration yet, please do that in the next couple of days.
I'm advising.
Put me down.
Put me down.
Put me down.
Did you get me, Bill?
Okay.
think we're all
Everybody
there.
will be there.
Everybody gonna be there.
And so I don't need to bother telling you who the speaker is to try and entice you to attend, because you're coming anyways. So, just a reminder that our after-meeting broadcast on WPHM tomorrow morning, 7:40, Commissioner Greatop is scheduled to provide that interview.
When I retired, 7:30 in the morning is no longer. There's a 7:30
With us is
PM.
7:40.
Well, 7:40.
Oh, different story.
It's a quick commute.
I gotta get up at 5
We
o'clock
actually
to be
did
there by
distribute that
7:40.
schedule to everybody. We're gonna rotate it around to
got it.
everybody.
It's on my
If you-
calendar.
If you have to
I'm
do
ready
some
to go.
changes or flip outs or whatever.
If you're way out in the rural areas, you might be able to call in.
Yeah.
They tell me that I look better on the
Radio?
radio when I don't call in.
I didn't know they had phones down that far, but that's,
The Human Resources Director position will begin the process of recruiting that immediately, and much as we did with the Planning Director position, we'll start with amendments to the job description, and we'll undertake a wage study as well. Last Monday, at the department head meeting, we rolled out our PC replacement program, a project that you approved at your committee meeting. Feedback has been very positive, and IT has received quite a few calls asking when and how, and actually quite a few departments would like to jump the queue and get ahead of some other people. So it's been a very positive feedback. Any comments?
No, I think there's going to be some, I think there's going to be some good opportunities to improve our efficiencies in our offices.
Use your Greg Hill example with the appraisers.
Sure. Yeah, last year, there was some testing of this system done, and there's quite a few individuals that work in Greg Hill's office, equalization, spend a lot of time out in the field doing field work, measuring up buildings, collecting information about individual pieces of property. Traditionally, what they've done is kept information while they're in the field by paper or putting it on tablets more recently, and then they've got to come back to the office and rekey all that information at the end of the day. Well, what they were able to do with this system is take their tablets, immediately access their database remotely, no matter where they were in the county, and as they were measuring the building, adding information about the site or the property, it was instantaneously updating their central database. So in effect, when one of the employees went out and had 20 properties to do that day or whatever it may be, at the end of the day, they really didn't need to come back into the office because all of their work was done for the day. Saves a great deal of time. Their efficiency rose dramatically. And down the road, what departments like Greg's and others might be looking at is how much space do I really need to support my employees if they don't have to come into the office every day. So this is really going to change the way services are delivered throughout the organization. Certainly the individual managers like Greg and the clerk will have to take a look at their operations, how they deliver services today, how technology might change that, and at the same time, they're going to have to take a look at their job descriptions and how their workflows currently function. So this is really going to change the face of how we run this organization. At the present time, we expect this program to roll out over the next year and a half. So in 2016, by the time we get to the end of the year, it should be fully implemented. You know, another great example I just want to share, the sheriff department was also testing the system, and they had an officer that was scheduled to take some vacation time. He was going up north hunting, still had a great deal of work to do, but he knew he was going to be sitting in that hunting blind and have plenty of time to sit there and do things. So while he was sitting in his hunting blind, he took out his smartphone and got onto the county system, completed a great deal of work while he was up there. Probably did, the sheriff reports, he probably did 40 hours worth of work while he was on vacation, and he did it all remotely. So this is really going to make a big difference for the organization. So thank you for supporting that project.
It sounds a little bit like the new Clements program for the sheriff and dispatch, in that, you know, the deputies can actually put the input right in their car, file the report, being it's in, they don't have to come in the office and do that, they can do it while they're out on patrol.
So, and you may remember a couple of years ago, we established a budget incentive program where, to help us balance the budget. So departments that at the end of the year, if they had saved $1 out of their budget, they were able to keep 75 cents, 25 cents came back to the general fund. And what we're doing with the budget incentive funds is we've always told the departments that we would like them to use those dollars to make structural changes to their organization. Not support a position just so they could keep a body, but instead make some changes in your organization so you may not need as many bodies in the future, yet you can still keep up with the demand for service. Well, we are encouraging those departments to use their budget incentive funds to support this program. So if currently they don't have the kind of technology that might be needed to support a change, they'll be able to tap into that fund to make this project a reality.
Any question, Mr. Greentown?
Yeah, I was at that meeting that Mr. Kaufman was talking about, and I would say we actually had a pretty good, close to a full house that day. All the department heads were recognized, and when Bill was done giving that particular report, there were a lot of questions that came from some of the agencies that will be able to use this, and they were good, solid questions, which told us that they were really interested in what was going on here. And when it was all said and done, as I think you mentioned, Bill, there was a pretty positive impact, I think, from that meeting. I think everybody felt pretty good. Jay, you were there. I think you probably came away with that same feeling that it was pretty well received. There were still some questions to be answered. You couldn't answer them all in once. And IT gave us a nice presentation, but it was a little bit over most of our heads, which they always are, but that's okay. We still got the gist of what they were saying there. So, yeah, good program.
David?
Just similar on the technology part as far as the assessing. This is going on in our 31 communities, the cities and the townships, but it's also going to help Homeland Security. Let's say you have a tornado come through. The assessors have been doing this, and they're getting a very good picture of what's out there and the resources that may be required by either the sheriff department, fire departments, or even for getting funds from the state or from the federal government. And that's part of the technology also, because then you can get a real good picture of what was actually there prior to, and then you can cost analysis it for much faster reports.
So the 2014 audit is underway. The auditors began their work here last week. We expect some preliminary findings later on this summer. The 2014 actuarial study has begun as well. That's very highly dependent on information that's pulled out of the audit. So although work has begun on the actuarial study, we don't expect any preliminary findings from them until probably mid-fall. The Blue Water Convention Center update, the financial report was in your agenda packet. We'll continue providing you with financial reports until the project is closed out and all the contractors have been paid. Once we reach that point, we will give you one final financial report and let you know, as well as the community, how the project was completed. The ribbon cutting is scheduled for Friday. There's an open house for the public to attend on Saturday from 11 o'clock until 2 o'clock. This week, site grading, hydroseeding took place. Some landscaping is going in as well. Internal signage is being installed. The Convention and Visitors Bureau moved in, so they're occupying their space. It's all set up, ready to go. And even though while we do have a certificate of occupancy, the site has been considered substantially completed. Work is going on the site and will continue for some time. Mostly on the outside. There will be some minor work done on the inside, but folks will continue to see contractors on the site for probably at least the next 60 days.
I would encourage commissioners, if you're available on Saturday from 11 to 2, if you could be up there, maybe to meet with some people, question answers. I remember when we had the jail open house. We had
that was good.
408 people walked through that sucker on a Saturday, you know, and it was just to be there. So if you guys are available from 11 to 2 on Saturday, I'm going to be up there. I'd like to have some of you guys up there. So, anything else? Motion for the administrator's report.
So moved.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Miscellaneous business? None. Receive and file?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to receive and file packets that were sent to the Commissioners' packet at their places and any other information presented.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
We hope you enjoyed this week's St. Clair County Board of Commissioners meeting. Your St. Clair County Commissioners broadcast these meetings on Comcast Local Access Channel 12 every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. If you have any questions on any part of this program, please feel free to contact your St. Clair County Board of Commissioners or staff. You can find their contact information, the meeting agenda, and videos of the meetings at www.stclaircounty.org.